Cruise news time. Well, we have a story of a rogue wave hitting an expedition cruise ship, and it's resulted in a fatality. Princess Cruise Line makes a big announcement yesterday, and well, you can't go cruising pregnant. Well, a certain level of pregnant, yet a baby was born on a cruise ship this week. Cruise news and my views. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to La Lido Loca. I'm your host Tony, here with the latest cruise news and views for December the 3rd, 2022. Cruise news story number one, a tragic cruise news story about a cruise passenger who has passed away. The expedition cruise ship Viking Polaris was sailing into Argentinian waters when it was hit by a storm, and during the storm, the cruise ship was hit by a rogue wave. As the massive wave crashed down on the cruise ship, it broke several panes of glass, and panes of glass fell onto an American cruise passenger, and it resulted in her death. 4 other passengers sustained non-life-threatening injuries during the event. They were treated on board. Polaris is currently making its way back to Argentina, where passengers will be disembarked, and they're going to miss the next cruise as they work through all of this. We've talked about it before. People pass away on cruise ships. That's not a huge surprise, but there are some circumstances that are often unanticipated, and it's a reminder. It's really a reminder that we can take away from this story that it is important to live each day as if you don't know what tomorrow brings, which is the truth for all of us. Tragic, sad story. I would just invite you to join me in having positive thoughts and prayers for the family of the lady who passed away. Wow. Cruise news story number 2, Princess Cruise Line made a big announcement yesterday on Friday, well, that it's going back to Japan. Princess is one of those cruise lines that had a presence in Japan before the shutdown. Japan putting their cruise ban in place in March of 2020 as the coronavirus made its way across the globe. Just recently announced that they would allow cruising again, and many cruise lines are starting to ramp up their Japan cruises. Beginning on March the 15th of 2023, the Diamond Princess will begin sailings from Tokyo, cruises ranging from 5 to 19 days. My cruise to Japan in 2019, probably the most exotic place I've ever been, and I can't recommend it to you enough. If you have an opportunity to visit Japan, visit the cities there. It's pretty amazing, and it's exciting that you can do it by a cruise ship. Princess back in the Japan game. Konnichiwa. Thank you, Princess. Go get on those cruise ships. Would you guys like to go to Japan? Leave a comment below. Now, I didn't mention it in the intro, but I'm still on location. Still on location on the Carnival Celebration, and it's another sea day. It's the last day before we have to disembark tomorrow morning and go home. So we are making our way to Miami. But I do want to give a couple updates and ask some questions, give you some ship life updates, and then tell you about the pregnant lady who was on a cruise ship and she gave birth, but pregnant ladies aren't supposed to do that on cruise ships. I'll tell you that story. But first, let me quickly invite you to subscribe. If you like staying up to date with everything that's going on in cruising, please consider subscribing with the notification bell on. That way you don't miss out on any of these episodes. Thank you in advance. All right, let's do some updates. I mentioned the other day that Carnival had reversed its policy to allow people to pre-purchase a bottle of liquor before the cruise. And I think I flippantly said prior to the change you could buy as much alcohol as possible. I hope that wasn't confusing, because it really doesn't matter going forward because the policy is what the policy is. You couldn't buy as much alcohol as possible. I think it was just like 1 bottle per person, or either way, the policy has changed. But you can now. On cruises 7 days and longer, you can buy a single bottle of alcohol for your cabin. And I've had people report back that they've gone to do that, and the alcohol is significantly more expensive. So in a pay-to-play move, it does seem like as the policy changed, the price also changed and went up. That's not surprising. But yeah, disregard my flippant comment about being able to buy truckloads of alcohol previously. I didn't mean it. And let me give you a couple quick ship life updates here from the Carnival Celebration. I did have the opportunity last night to catch a really cool show called Color My World. It was the first show I watched in the main theater, and it was fantastic. The 2 vocalists that drove that show, incredible dancers. You know, again, we talked the other day, has Carnival delivered on the big ship promise? And one of the big ship promises is better, more entertainment. And certainly they knocked that show out of the park. And then they did something interesting in the Celebration Central area last night. Well, they had a dance party. It seemed like a really wise use of the space toward the end of the cruise. They brought a DJ out. They brought several of the performers from the shows out, and they just had a good old dance party. They invited people down in front of the stage, and it was high energy. It was very positive, and I thought another good use of space. And, you know, I've talked about that. The other promise of the big ship life is that you're able to use venues for multiple things, and certainly that Celebration Station is a multi-use space that I feel like's been used wisely. Now, let's talk about the baby being born on a Royal Caribbean cruise ship just the other day. This happened on November the 29th on Royal Caribbean's Jewel of the Seas. A woman presented herself at the medical facility not feeling well, and when they examined her, well, she was in full-on labor. Now, the medical facility, the medical team on Royal Caribbean certainly trained for this activity, even though you're not supposed to be pregnant on a cruise ship or pregnant enough to have a baby. They jumped into action and they gave birth to a baby. And that's very exciting. Mom and baby were transferred off the ship to a hospital in Ocho Rios, Jamaica, where both mom and baby are doing well, according to a statement by Royal Caribbean. But the reason that the story is important, and the reason I keep playing with the idea that you're not supposed to be that pregnant on a cruise ship, is because that's true. And I don't know if everybody knows that. The general rule for cruise ships is that you cannot go cruising if you're past your 23rd week. So if you're 24 weeks or more pregnant, they will deny you access. Most cruise lines will deny you access to boarding. Famously, back in 2018, right after we first started cruising, this was one of the first biggest cruise news stories that I became aware of, as a 25-week pregnant woman was denied boarding on a Disney cruise ship, and she threw a big fit about it on social media. And so this was one of the first things that I ever saw of somebody freaking out on a cruise line on social media. It was the lady who was denied boarding. Of course, in this story, the baby was premature. It doesn't say how many weeks pregnant that she was, but certainly she was inside those 23 weeks or she would not have been able to board. And so we have the delivery of a premature baby on a Royal Caribbean cruise ship. The lingering question for me is, well, will the baby get credit for the day sailed? Is the baby on its way to becoming a Platinum Plus? This will be Platinum Baby on Royal Caribbean. No, I don't know. It's good that the mom and the baby are doing well, and well, kudos to Royal Caribbean for birthing a baby right there on the cruise ship. And like I said, being pregnant's one of those things that can make you miss your cruise. I also made a list of 8 other things. So 9 things that can make you miss your cruise. This is an important video. Make sure you check that out next. This is Tony for La Lido Loca, and until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Bye.